everybody, I have the craziest Backrooms theory ever. It's called the Feetrooms. We're gonna get straight into it. Spoiler warning, by the way, for the Backrooms movie. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go watch that. Alright, let's jump straight into it. Meet the feet. First off, we got Clark and his feet. He has like these New Balance sneakers, right? These little white ones with the black tips. Just about right. Maybe not exactly the same, but you get the idea. Next up, Bobby, his feet. He's got these like low-rise black sneakers. Something like this. Not exactly. You know, none of these shoe examples are exact, but it's close enough. Next up, Kat. Look at her feet. Look at that. She's got red sandals on. And another note. These three are taken from the scene. It's the scene where they're filming the ad and he falls out of his chair. So, with that in mind, let's continue. The first time he's going through the Backrooms, Clark, he discovers this room after crawling through that little crawl space that had the bag in it, and he sees this. Now, none of these screenshots are going to be perfect, because I had to look up clips of the movie online because it's not digitally available. I did see it twice, though, so I did pay for it. If you look, you see the purple chair that he was sitting in before, and some stuff over here. Let's continue. Boom. They make a point to show you these shoes stuck in the floor. Look at these the black sneakers and the red sandals. Just like we've seen. Look. Those are the exact shoes for these guys. So you know what that means? There are still life versions of Bobby and Kat in the Backrooms as of the time that Clark comes in. Which does make sense if you think about it, because if the Backrooms was copying those people in this furniture store before he even stepped foot in, it would make sense that these people who are regular employees would show up there as well. And you may be thinking, well, how do we know for sure that there are still life versions of these guys walking around? Well, we actually have seen proof of this. Let's take a look. Boom. Right here. In the laundry room, when they're sending him down, when they send Bobby down, he finds this shirt in a pile of clothes. And apartheid. That is the exact same shirt he was wearing at that scene where I assume the Backrooms screenshotted the filming of the ad and the three main employees. So, let's move on. You may also be thinking, well, what about Clark's shoes? Clark's shoes are nowhere to be found here. We'll get into that in a second, but I also want to point out, see how this chair is slightly tilted to the side, on that one side? If you remember in the movie, when he's filming the ad, the chair snaps and he falls down. That leg, the front right leg, if you're sitting in the chair, it's the front right. That leg snapped and fell. So, this may not be an exact reason, but it seems the Backroom might have taken that screenshot right as that happened, because it's tilted to the side. You may also notice his parrot is there. That's something else that we'll bring up. But, okay, let's move on to the sneakers. I'm just kind of pointing out little details. The sneakers is mainly what we're here to talk about. His white sneakers from the ad. We actually have seen his sneakers before. Look at this. When we first see the full figure of Pirate Clark and he's walking into the dining room, we see his back, and on his back, we see his sneaker stuck in his back. I don't have an exact reason for this, but it may be possible to assume that as he was falling in the chair and it took the screenshot of that scene, the Backrooms took the screenshot, his shoe got stuck inside of his back. It's not bad to assume that. So, it's not a huge detail, but it does show that sneakers and your feet, if you get copied in the Backrooms, they're getting separated, alright? Because his shoe is right there. And you may be thinking, well, that doesn't really look like a shoe. Let's zoom in. That looks like a shoe to me. You see the white laces right there? That part right there is where you put your feet. Zoom in a little closer. Look at that. That's the exact same curvature of a shoe. And I can tell you, I saw this in theaters literally like 2 hours ago, and I was looking for clues like this. I 100% guarantee you that's a shoe. Now, some of this is a little iffy going forward, except for a moment that I'll bring up in a second, but there's a couple errors with this theory that I do want to go over really quick. There's this guy in the wheelchair, right? He's sitting in the back. He has 4 legs, 2 pairs of feet, and those feet have shoes in them that are not stuck in the floor somewhere in the Backrooms. But my guess as to why that may be a thing, if this theory is correct, is because he's elevated by the wheelchair, so his feet were never touching the floor at all. So, do with that what you will. Another hole that I like to point out is the fat guy with the gray hair and like the 2 pairs of eyes or something like that. We never get a good look at his feet, but there is this, outside wide shot where you can see them all sitting in the dining room. And I wasn't exactly sure about this, but I'm pretty sure he was wearing socks, which aren't shoes in my playbook. So, it's a possibility. And here's another example of socks, no shoes. In the final scene of the movie, when Mary, Still Life Mary, is sitting in the chair, she's wearing socks. And I also would like to point out that this version of Still Life Mary is the one that ends up in async. So she doesn't get screenshotted until she's in async. And I assume the reason that she's all like scared like this sitting in the chair is because she's traumatized. This Backrooms are taking the traumatized version of her and it's copying that. Because it's the same. We've never seen her in this outfit before until she's already in async. But again, you don't really see her feet in this. So we don't know if she's wearing shoes, socks, what color. But I think we can guess she's wearing socks in that scene. There is one kind of bigger hole that I like to talk about, but it may also allude to something that we're going to talk about later. The still life of, which I think we can all agree is supposed to be Clark's wife with the red hair, it looks like she's wearing high heels, and it looks like her shoes did not get stuck in the floor, which I've been saying is the thing that happens for every still life. But I do have a little bit of a resolution for this theory. We first see her, and I did make a GIF of this because I really wanted to point out exactly what happens. See how she's wobbling around? See how she's walking very irregular? She's wearing heels in that scene. They might be attached to her feet. That could be the only reason, if this theory is correct, that could be the only reason she would still have her heels, is because they're physically attached to her body, because the Backrooms may think that clothes are physically part of a person. And I do actually have a little bit more proof to this, as well as more proof of this theory in general. If we go back to the original still life from Found Footage 3, the first time we ever see one, we see this guy. And he starts off crawling on the floor, and he slowly rises up to start running again, but he eventually goes back to crawling as he's chasing Ravi through the hole. And if you look closely, and I don't know why I didn't make a GIF of this, but if you play it frame by frame and you go close, he has 1 foot with a shoe on it and a stub without a foot or a shoe, and that's why he's crawling around, because he can't stand up straight. If we go to the house that Ravi was in, we see the trail of blood going from the shoe, which, we can't make exact guesses, but we can assume that this is a puddle of blood, which would make sense if he was copied in the Backrooms and his foot was stuck in the ground and got removed somehow. It would make sense why there's a stub there, and why there's blood and a blood trail on the ground. which also could mean that this still life, if this house is supposed to be a copy of the house on the other side of the wall, that could be the dad from found footage 3, who is kind of defending his home, because he said that there were, and I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure he says something about kids coming around trying to bother him on his private property. Now using this is just a little side theory, but if we take this idea, we could guess that the reason that this still life is chasing Ravi through found footage 3 is because he's defending his home, because he's supposed to be a copy of the dad from found footage 3. So that's my theory, that's my Feetrooms theory. In conclusion, whenever still life is created, the shoes get stuck in the floor. Earlier versions of still lives had their whole foot/feet stuck. And while you could say the Backrooms is getting better at perfecting life, it's also not, because Clark's ex-wife had her feet physically attached to her. They weren't stuck in the floor, but they were attached to her. So you could have the idea that earlier still lives had their shoes attached to them, while the newer ones do not. They get stuck in the floor. I have a couple more theories coming out soon. One of them is the existence of the cavemen. What is their purpose? What is Asen using with them? It's more of a shorter theory, but there's a lot more than that too. So if you want to stay tuned, subscribe, get more content in the future, let me know.